Dinner was quiet before she spoke, the kind of silence that hums under the clatter of cutlery. She pushed her plate away, fingers brushing crumbs across the table, and said, "I'm leaving you. I've fallen in love with a richer man." I said nothing at first. Just nodded. Or maybe it was a slight exhale, a small acknowledgement of words that had been rehearsed, repeated in her mind until they sounded inevitable. "Great," I said, letting it settle into the air. Not anger, not pleading, just quiet acceptance. She blinked. For a moment, it seemed she expected another reaction. A plea, a shout, a crack in my composure. But there was nothing. Only stillness. Later I sat in my chair, staring at the leftover wine, letting memories drift uninvited. The early days of our marriage played across my mind like a faded slideshow, little compromises, unspoken resentments, laughter that sometimes felt like a performance. The betrayal wasn't sudden. It had been building quietly, like water eroding stone, until it surfaced in her calm confession. I left the house that night with a measured step. She gathered her things, her movements brisk, almost rehearsed again. I said nothing. No confrontation, no argument. The quiet was my shield and perhaps my strategy. Days passed. I moved through them deliberately, reclaiming the rhythms of my life. Breakfast alone. Small decisions made with care. Accounts checked. Documents organized. I noticed her absence not as pain, but as space, a room once crowded with expectation now empty, giving me perspective. The court date arrived without fanfare. I walked into the room knowing what I had overlooked for too long. Papers in order. Figures verified. A judge presiding over more than just a dispute, but the imbalance of years disguised as marriage. She sat across from me, poised, composed. I could see the faint tension tightening her hands. When the judgment was read, the words landed with clarity. Authority had intervened, visibly and unmistakably. The court recognized overlooked financial arrangements, past oversights, and legal leverage that had quietly accumulated. She turned pale, the mask of composure faltering. I remained seated, my expression neutral. The power shift did not need my theatrics, the system's decision spoke for itself. In the car afterward, I didn't celebrate. No triumphant smile, no bitter commentary. Just a slow exhale, the sense of having navigated the storm with dignity intact. Control had been reclaimed, quietly and undeniably, but not at the cost of my own composure. I reflected on the lessons learned. The importance of vigilance, of self-reliance, of noticing the subtleties that precede rupture. I felt a slow strengthening inside, a resilience forged not through confrontation, but through patience and calm observation. The moral of the story was not vengeance, it was self-possession. She would remember that day in court for its shock. I would remember it for its clarity. The marriage was over, as it should be. The betrayal stung, but it no longer dictated my emotions. Power had shifted, authority had confirmed it, and I was left with quiet victory, a personal reckoning rather than a spectacle. Driving home, I let the silence fill the car. It was a different silence now, not the tension of unspoken words, but the calm of reclaimed agency. A life adjusted, a path forward unobstructed by theatrics, by expectation, by unresolved fear.